Okay, so what are the sources of criminal law? First of all, what is the body of criminal law? Criminal law defines crimes, prescribes behavior that is illegal. It sets the procedures for how police make arrests, trial procedures, search and seizure law, and interview and interrogation laws by the police. Where do these laws come from? The first source is the common law. As many of you know, our law is based on the Anglo-Saxon law from England, and many of the rules of law and criminal procedure have been developed in England and have been adopted by many of our courts. But the second place that the laws come from are obviously the United States federal Constitution, which sets the minimum standard of protections that are afforded to individual citizens of the United States. And second of all, from individual state constitutions. So the United States Constitution provides a basis for the federal criminal law, and the federal criminal laws actually are found in the United States Code, and the federal government has obviously criminalized many of the same types of crimes that are found in the individual states. And again, many scholars claim that there is too much overlap. We talked about that in the last section. So the federal Constitution sets the minimum bar for procedures, protections of citizens afforded under the Constitution, federal Constitution. Besides the United States Criminal Code, again, each individual state passes their own set of criminal statutes. Here in Connecticut, we call it the Penal Code. And the Penal Code prescribes behaviors that are illegal and also sets the standard for defining the punishments that are attached to the Connecticut Penal Code system. The third place where criminal laws are located are in individual cities and towns that pass ordinances. Many of those ordinances include things such as loitering or certain locations for that are protected by trespassing laws. Like for instance, local parks, state parks, etc., are governed oftentimes by ordinances prescribing when those areas can be used. That's just one particular area of law that are covered by ordinances. Sometimes towns and cities prescribe when certain alcoholic beverages can be consumed in public. So those statutes regulate behavior locally. So you have three different schemes. You have the federal schemes, you have the state schemes, and then the individual towns and cities that pass the statutes. And then there are also administrative agencies, both at the federal level. For instance, the Department of Environmental Protection have their own set of regulations regulating things to do with the environment. Similarly, states have their own agencies that also pass regulations, and those are enforced normally by fines. There can be some levels of incarceration, but normally those violations of those regulations are punishable by fines. The last place that the laws come from are appellate court decisions. And again, those appellate court decisions are found both in the federal and the state governments. So those are the basic sources of the criminal law. That should pretty much be a review for most of you at this point in your career. And that does it for this part of the lecture.